What if I told you that by the start of May 2025, your favorite breakfast, snacks, even produce might just disappear from store shelves? And here's why it matters. It's already happening, quietly and quickly. Stick around, because I'm about to reveal 10 grocery items that could become nearly impossible to find, and how it might impact your wallet, your health, and your dinner plate. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I've spent hours digging through supply chain reports, reading expert analyses, and watching what's really going on in our grocery aisles. What I found is honestly surprising, and in some cases, a little scary. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 10 grocery items that are vanishing fast, the hidden reasons behind their disappearance, and what that means for all of us here in the US. From climate chaos to international trade wars to outbreaks nobody's talking about. This isn't just about food, it's about the future. Make sure you stick around till the end, because some of the last few items on the list are ones you really wouldn't expect. And while you're watching, drop a comment below. Have you noticed anything missing from your local store lately? Or maybe a favorite product's price suddenly skyrocketed? Let's compare notes. Let's start with one of the most surprising shortages: eggs. Yes, those little breakfast heroes are becoming harder to find and way more expensive than they used to be. The main reason? Bird flu, also known as avian influenza. Over the past year, it has hit egg-laying hens hard. Millions of birds had to be culled to stop the spread of the virus. This means fewer hens, and fewer hens mean fewer eggs. And just like that, the supply drops while demand stays the same, or even grows. In fact, the numbers are kind of shocking. In some areas, especially on the West Coast, a dozen eggs have been selling for nearly $9. That's more than double what many people were paying just a year ago. And it's not just a temporary price hike. When farmers have to start over with new flocks, it takes time, sometimes months, before they're laying eggs again. What makes it worse is how eggs are used. They're not just a breakfast food. Think about baking, mayonnaise, pasta, snacks, even some dressings. So when eggs are in short supply, the ripple effect hits a ton of other grocery items too. Some shoppers have already noticed limits at stores. 1 or 2 cartons per customer. Others have turned to local farmers or backyard co-ops, but even those can't keep up with the demand. And here's a detail many people miss: transportation costs. Feed prices and fuel have also gone up. So even when eggs are available, getting them to stores isn't cheap. All of this stacks up. Have you seen fewer eggs on shelves lately? Or maybe the prices just made you do a double take. Drop your egg spotting stories in the comments. I'd love to hear what it's like in your area. 2. Berries and apples. Let's talk about 2 fan favorites that might not make it to your shopping cart this spring. Berries and apples. Whether it's a smoothie, a slice of pie, or just a healthy snack, these fruits are household staples. But if you've noticed they're more expensive lately, or missing altogether, you're not imagining things. The issue starts in the fields. Harvesting berries and apples isn't easy. It takes a lot of hands to pick them at just the right time. But lately, farms across the US have been facing a serious shortage of labor. Why? Changes in immigration policies have made it harder for seasonal workers to get the proper visas. Without them, fruits are left to rot on the vine or fall off the trees. And here's the catch: these crops don't wait. If they're not picked in time, they spoil fast. So even though the farms are growing the fruit, much of it never even makes it off the land. Less fruit means less supply, and that drives prices up. Some grocery stores have had to limit orders or just stop stocking certain varieties altogether. Apples, especially, are facing pressure. Some popular types like Honeycrisp and Fuji have become harder to find in certain regions. And berries? Their prices have skyrocketed. A tiny pack of blueberries that used to cost $3 might now go for $5 or more. What makes this even trickier is weather. Late frosts and unpredictable rains have also cut into harvests. So it's not just one issue, it's a combination of labor, climate, and timing. Have you skipped over strawberries or apples lately because of the price? Or maybe you just couldn't find them at all. Let me know what you're seeing at your local store. It really helps paint the full picture. 3. Almonds and other water-intensive crops. If you're a fan of almond milk, trail mix, or just a handful of almonds as a snack, brace yourself. Almonds might be the next big thing to disappear from store shelves. And it's not just almonds. Other crops that need a lot of water, like pistachios, avocados, and even rice, are also at risk. The biggest problem? Water, or rather, the lack of it. California, which grows about 80% of the world's almonds, has been facing long-term drought conditions. Year after year, farmers have had to make tough choices. Many are cutting back on almond trees or pulling them out completely because there's just not enough water to keep them alive. And it's not just drought, it's also about cost. Water is getting more expensive. So farmers have to decide, do they grow something that uses tons of water and brings in a modest return, or switch to crops that are less thirsty? More and more are choosing the second option. Add to that the rising cost of labor, fuel, and supplies, and the result is clear: fewer almonds, higher prices, and empty shelves in some places. Even big brands are starting to adjust their supply chains, and that means less consistency for you as a shopper. What's surprising is how many products this affects. Not just raw almonds, but almond flour, almond butter, almond milk. It's everywhere. And when supply dips, the prices of all those products go up too. So if you're someone who adds almond milk to your coffee, or reaches for a protein bar with almonds, you might want to keep an eye on your local store. Have you already noticed changes in prices for almond-based products? Or maybe fewer options on the shelf? Drop a comment and tell us what's happening in your area. 4. Bananas and tropical produce. Next up, bananas and other tropical favorites like pineapples and mangoes. These are some of the most loved fruits in American kitchens. They're healthy, affordable, usually, and super versatile. But all of that might be changing fast. The problem? Extreme weather. Tropical regions, where most of these fruits are grown, have been hit hard by hurricanes, heat waves, and floods. Banana crops in Central and South America, especially places like Ecuador and Costa Rica, have taken a major beating. When a storm wipes out banana trees, it can take months, even years, for new ones to produce fruit again. But it's not just the weather. There's also a plant disease that's spreading, and it's a big deal. It's called Panama disease, specifically the TR4 strain, and it affects banana plants at the root. Once it's in the soil, it's almost impossible to get rid of. Some farmers are calling it the biggest banana crisis in modern history. And then there's the issue of transportation. Global shipping is still recovering from delays, port backlogs, and fuel price hikes. So even if the fruit gets harvested, getting it to the US is slower and more expensive than it used to be. This all adds up to fewer bananas arriving in stores. And when they do, they cost more. A bunch that used to be $1 might now be $1.50 or more in some cities. Not to mention, they might look smaller, greener, or less fresh. Bananas used to be the dependable, always there fruit. But that's starting to change. Have you seen your favorite tropical fruits looking a little worse for wear lately? Or costing more than usual? Share what you're noticing in the produce aisle. It helps everyone stay in the loop. 5. Processed fruits, nuts, and cereal products. Let's talk about the stuff we grab without thinking. Snack packs of dried fruit, nut mixes, granola bars, and breakfast cereals. These are the quick bites we toss in our bags, pack in lunches, or eat on the go. But by May 2025, these shelves might look a lot emptier. The reason? It all comes down to trade policies and import costs. The US gets a huge portion of its processed fruits, nuts, and cereal ingredients from Mexico and Canada. But proposed new tariffs and tighter border regulations are shaking things up in a big way. If those tariffs go into effect, the cost of importing these ingredients will jump, and that means either higher prices or fewer products. Even the big food brands are nervous. Some have already started scaling back on variety. Have you noticed fewer options in your granola bar aisle? That's no accident. When prices go up and ingredients are harder to get, companies focus on just a few best sellers and quietly drop the rest. There's also a packaging issue. Some of the foil and plastic used in snack wrappers are facing global supply chain delays, making it harder for companies to produce at full capacity. So it's not just about the food, it's everything around it. And let's not forget climate. Wildfires and heat waves in nut-producing regions have affected almond and walnut yields. Yes, again, which are key ingredients in many breakfast and snack items. So if you've been stocking up on trail mix or granola lately, it might be a smart move. Are your go-to snacks costing more or disappearing from the shelves? Maybe that favorite cereal has been out of stock for weeks. Tell us what's happening where you shop. We're tracking this together. 6. Orange juice and citrus fruits. Now let's talk about something that's been a breakfast staple for generations: orange juice. You might want to enjoy that glass while you can, because by May 2025, it might be a luxury. The citrus industry, especially in Florida, is facing one of its toughest battles yet. The culprit? A disease called citrus greening, also known as huanglongbing. It's been silently destroying orange groves for over a decade, but now it's reached a tipping point. The trees look healthy at first, but the fruit grows small, bitter, and often unusable. And if that wasn't bad enough, the last few years have brought devastating hurricanes and unusual cold snaps. That 1-2 punch of disease and extreme weather has slashed orange production to record lows. In fact, some reports say this is the smallest Florida orange harvest in nearly 80 years. As a result, orange juice prices are soaring. A gallon that used to cost $5 is now inching closer to $8 in some states. And it's not just Florida. Brazil, the other major orange producer, is facing similar struggles with droughts and labor issues. Lemon and lime prices are also creeping up. These fruits rely on stable, warm climates and consistent rainfall. But with climate patterns all over the place, citrus farms are struggling to keep up. You might have already noticed smaller bottles, price hikes, or juice blends replacing pure orange juice on the shelf. That's not a coincidence. It's a way for brands to stretch limited supplies. Have you swapped out OJ for something else lately? Or maybe you've seen a crazy price jump at your store. Let me know what you've noticed. It helps everyone stay informed as these changes unfold. 7. Fish and crustaceans. Now, let's dive into the world of seafood, fish and crustaceans, items that have been mainstays of many dinner tables for years. But with rising challenges in the fishing and aquaculture industries, these might soon be much harder to find. First, there's the issue of overfishing. Many of the world's fish stocks, like cod, tuna, and salmon, are being caught faster than they can replenish. This leads to stricter regulations on how much fish can be caught, but those restrictions often cause prices to rise. And when fish is harder to catch, the cost of getting it to market becomes higher, which gets passed down to the consumer. On top of that, climate change is playing a huge role. Rising ocean temperatures and acidification are altering the habitats of marine life, pushing certain species farther away from their traditional fishing grounds. This makes it harder and more expensive to harvest them. We're also seeing fish populations affected by unpredictable weather events, like hurricanes and floods, which damage ecosystems and disrupt the supply. Then there's the impact of trade policies. With ongoing tensions in global trade, particularly with major seafood exporters like China and Thailand, tariffs could raise the price of imported seafood even more. Consumers could see higher prices for shrimp, crab, and even canned tuna as these countries face new restrictions or logistical challenges. And don't forget about aquaculture, fish farming. While it's an alternative to wild-caught fish, aquaculture has its own set of issues, like diseases, water pollution, and a reliance on specific feed that's becoming harder to source. Have you noticed seafood prices creeping up or certain items disappearing? Or maybe you've switched to plant-based alternatives as a result. Drop a comment and share what you're seeing in the stores near you. Your insights are valuable. 8. Meat, especially beef and pork. Next, we have something that's been at the center of many grocery price hikes: meat. If you've been shopping for beef, pork, or even chicken lately, you've probably noticed the prices aren't what they used to be. And if you think it's just a passing trend, think again. The meat shortage is here to stay for the foreseeable future. One of the biggest reasons for the rising meat prices is labor shortages in the processing plants. During the COVID-19 pandemic, many meat packing plants had to temporarily shut down or operate with reduced capacity due to outbreaks among workers. The ripple effect is still being felt today. Fewer workers means fewer animals being processed, which leads to a supply shortage. But labor is just one piece of the puzzle. There's also the issue of feed prices. The cost of corn and soybeans, which are the primary feed for livestock, has gone up due to weather conditions and global demand. When feed costs rise, farmers have to spend more to raise animals, and they pass those costs along to consumers. On top of that, the cost of transportation has skyrocketed. Gas prices, along with labor shortages and trucking, mean that getting meat from farms to your local grocery store is becoming more expensive. That's why you might notice your favorite cuts of beef or pork costing more, and in some cases, they might be harder to find. And let's not forget the environmental impact. Raising livestock is resource intensive, contributing to climate change. Some consumers are already switching to plant-based alternatives, like Impossible or Beyond Meat. With more people choosing these options, it could put additional pressure on the meat industry. Have you noticed prices climbing for steak or bacon? Or maybe you've seen certain cuts disappearing from your local store. Let us know what's happening in your area. Your experiences really matter. 9. Coffee beans. If you're a coffee lover, you might want to savor that cup while you can. Coffee beans are another grocery item that could become scarce or more expensive before May 2025, and it's due to a combination of climate issues, labor shortages, and international trade challenges. The biggest issue affecting coffee production is climate change. Coffee plants are highly sensitive to temperature changes, and they thrive in a narrow band of climate conditions. As global temperatures rise, coffee-growing regions in Brazil, Colombia, and Vietnam, the world's largest producers, are experiencing unpredictable weather patterns, including droughts, floods, and extreme heat waves. These conditions damage crops, reduce yields, and push coffee farmers to the brink. But it's not just the weather. Coffee production is also facing a labor shortage. Many coffee farms rely on seasonal workers for harvesting, and in some countries, labor shortages have made it harder to find the hands needed to pick the beans at their peak. This means that not only is the harvest smaller, but it's also taking longer to get beans from the farm to the roaster. On top of that, transportation costs are causing problems. Shipping delays, port backlogs, and rising fuel prices are making it harder for coffee beans to move across the globe. As a result, there's less available supply, and what's left costs more to ship and store. For coffee drinkers, this means higher prices at your local cafe and grocery store. That beloved bag of coffee you used to get for $10 might now be closer to $15 or more. The next time you grab your morning brew, you might want to take note. Prices are only expected to go up. 10. Wheat and grain products. Last, but certainly not least, let's talk about wheat and the products made from it. Bread, pasta, cereal, and even beer. These everyday staples might be harder to find or more expensive in the near future, and it's all thanks to a combination of extreme weather, labor shortages, and global supply chain issues. The biggest threat to wheat production is extreme weather. Droughts, floods, and unusual temperature swings are causing huge disruptions in farming regions like the US, Midwest, Russia, and parts of Europe. When the weather doesn't cooperate, wheat yields drop, and the grain becomes more scarce. And when there's less wheat, the price of flour, pasta, and even things like crackers or cookies increases. This is already being felt in the US, with wheat futures hitting their highest prices in years. In addition to climate issues, the labor shortage is also impacting wheat farming. Farmers are struggling to hire enough workers to help with planting, harvesting, and processing. This means some fields are left untended, and the overall supply of wheat is shrinking. But that's not all. There's also the issue of global supply chain disruptions. Wheat is grown and shipped all over the world, and with supply chain issues still lingering, transportation of grain has become slower and more expensive. This means that even when wheat is available, getting it from farms to mills, and then from mills to grocery stores, costs more. These problems will likely result in higher prices for products made from wheat, like bread, pasta, and cereals. And as wheat is a crucial part of the global food system, the ripple effect could be felt across all kinds of foods. Have you seen the price of your favorite bread or pasta shoot up? Or maybe you've noticed fewer options on the shelves? Share your experiences with wheat products in the comments below. Let's keep each other in the loop. So, there you have it. 10 grocery items that could be much harder to find or much more expensive by May 2025. From eggs to coffee and everything in between, The challenges we're facing in food production are real and growing. Whether it's climate change, supply chain issues, or global trade disruptions, these factors are reshaping our grocery lists. But here's the good news. You're not alone in noticing these changes. I want to hear from you. Have you seen these shortages in your local stores? Or maybe you've noticed price hikes in unexpected places. Drop a comment below, and let's keep the conversation going. If you found this video helpful and want to stay informed about the latest trends and tips on how to navigate grocery shopping in these unpredictable times, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay prepared and keep your grocery game strong.